Welcome to Vassals of Kingsgrave. I'm Vikram. I go by as Fortytwo on the forums. Joining me for this podcast are Zach
Hey everybody, also known as Alias on the podcast of Ice and Fire forums.
and Bill.
Hello, this is Mr. Korb.
Hey guys, thank you for coming on. How's your Sunday so far?
It's been good. Been watching actually a StarCraft tournament for most of the day. Home Story Cup 8 in Germany, which has been a lot of fun. Really cool tournament. Very casual compared to what you normally see.
Huh, okay, excellent.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
How about you, Bill?
It's been a little tiring for me. I got up early to watch a basketball game, but we won, so hey, that's great.
Congrats. Awesome.
Okay, so this is our BlizzCon edition. BlizzCon happened last week, the Saturday and the Friday. No, sorry. Yeah, Friday and Saturday, right?
Yeah.
November 9th and November 10th. And we are here to talk about it, talk about upcoming expansions, talk about some of the new games that are going to come out from BlizzCon. So this is going to be a very Blizzard heavy podcast. So if you're a BioWare fan, get out of here. We don't want you guys. Get out of here.
I have room for both. Fan of both, so I don't know. They can stay if they want.
Oh, okay. You guys can stay as long as you keep quiet.
Of course.
So Zach, so tell us about your experience with Blizzard stuff. What games do you play and such?
Oh man, it's been a long and storied history for me with Blizzard. Definitely, I would say my favorite game company by far. I've played pretty much all the games to a lesser or greater extent since I want to say StarCraft, Brood War, and Warcraft 3. I did not play Diablo 1 and 2, unfortunately, but did get some time into 3, and I did enjoy what I did have for that. But yeah, mostly for me it is StarCraft 2 and World of Warcraft. I've been playing WoW since on and off since vanilla.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, since the beginning. Didn't play too much then. Got more into sort of like the end game rating stuff in Lich King and later. But yeah, I've been involved in that for pretty much as long as it goes, and absolutely love StarCraft 2. One of my favorite games of all time. Just love the competitive scene that's developed around it, and like I mentioned before, I just keep watching it and enjoying that so much. So yeah, definitely a big fan of those two. And recently I've been playing a lot of their new game Hearthstone in beta a ton too, and enjoying that.
Oh wow, so you covered the entire spread then. World of Warcraft since vanilla, StarCraft, Brood Wars, Warcraft 3 you said?
Yeah, I've played some of that too. Didn't play it too
Warcraft
much when it
3.
first came out, but I went back and played that and really enjoyed it. So yeah.
Excellent. StarCraft 2, Diablo 3, and now Hearthstone. Excellent. How about you, Bill? What's your experience with Blizzard stuff?
I've been playing World of Warcraft since April 2008, which was late Burning Crusade, just before Wrath came out.
Yeah.
That's really the main game I've been focusing on. I've played a little bit of Diablo 3 when it came out because I got it free as part of the annual pass subscription to World of Warcraft. That was a nice bonus they gave everybody who signed up for that. And I played, I think it was a 10-day trial of StarCraft 2, and it just wasn't my type of game at all. But
yeah, it's definitely an acquired taste, I think. If you don't like RTS, it can be quite difficult to get into.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I am currently in the Hearthstone beta.
Oh, excellent. Okay, so mostly Warcraft and Hearthstone then.
Yeah.
And Diablo also, you said, right? You got to Inferno mode at least.
Yeah, I got level 60 and got into Inferno, and then I started getting slaughtered in like 2 hits, and it was like, I'm not going through this a fourth time.
Yeah, totally same experience for me.
Excellent. Okay, so I guess I'm the noob here then because I started with StarCraft 2, I guess. I mean, I played Warcraft 1, I guess, I think, when I was a kid, but not the Warcraft 2 or 3. And so I only started playing StarCraft 2 after only StarCraft 2. Took that seriously. I think I played that seriously for like 6 months, but then I never got past Gold League. So I had, it's time to move on.
Yeah.
And then I switched over to Warcraft, and that's when Cataclysm came out. So I was around till Cataclysm, all for Cataclysm up till we killed Deathwing, and that's when I kind of got out and started exploring other games like EVE Online, Guild Wars 2, and all that. Oh yeah, and definitely I played Diablo 3, no Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and currently the only Blizzard game I'm playing right now is Hearthstone.
It's great, isn't it? Though it's really awesome casual game game to just jump into.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So, have both of you played Mists of Pandaria?
Yeah, definitely. I actually stopped playing WoW seriously for a while during CAD. I did come back in the end and got into the beginning of Pandaria, but kind of lost interest. And recently, a few months ago, during the summer, actually got back into it, joined a guild, and did some of the Throne of Thunder raiding and all that cool stuff. So yeah, definitely experienced the tail end of it.
Yeah, I'm currently leveling my 11th character up to 90.
Wow. I
Yeah.
only have 390s. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm about halfway through 85 on him right now.
So, how many, I guess, lemon cakes? What would be the World of Warcraft equivalent of lemon cakes? But how do you guys find Mists of Pandaria? Is it one of the best expansions you've been around for, or not?
It's fun. I can't say I'm bored by it. It's not as cartoonish or as kiddie as so many people were trying to make it out beforehand, because there was, the whole Kung Fu Panda thing. Even though I think the Pandarian, I think they preceded that movie by a couple years.
Yeah, there were Pandaren in Warcraft 3, even though people thought that it was a steal from Kung Fu Panda, but they've been around for ages.
Yeah, wasn't it an April Fool's joke?
I think so, yeah, too. I think they did joke it earlier. But yeah, they've been around in the lore since Warcraft 3, which is, of course, I think at least like 10 years old now.
Okay, excellent. Okay. So then let's get started with the first big thing that came out of BlizzCon, and that's the new expansion, Warlords of Draenor, Rise of Backspace.
I haven't heard that described like that before. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's. I actually would say Warlords of Draenor, Rise of Hybrid class, I guess, because of the new itemization thing and everything.
Oh yeah,
of course.
But just before we get down into the nitty gritty and talk about each of the new features that came out, how do you guys feel? What do you guys think of the announcement? Is it what you guys are looking for in the next expansion, or is it disappointing?
I think it's really cool. I think that it's going to be a nice revival to some of the more hardcore lore aspects, first of all, of the game that people are into. I'm curious to see how that plays out because, like you say, a lot of people were skeptical of Pandaria at first, but it turned out to be really great. I was definitely one of those people, but I remember back in 2011 when they announced that, I was like, what? Pandas? What? I didn't understand it all, but definitely it did fulfill my interests for sure. And I still, to this day, actually have the panda portrait. But yeah, Warlords of Draenor... the panda portrait in StarCraft 2. That's the one I've been using since that BlizzCon. But yeah, Warlords of Draenor, really cool. Like a really cool idea to switch things up. And I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it plays out, introducing all these old characters and kind of messing with the weird like alternate reality time travel stuff. But I think a lot of the features and a lot of the decisions they are making is a nice sort of like reset for WoW and to try to get back to the basics and really figure out where this game is going in the future.
How about you, Bill?
Well, you mentioned the timeline change here, which I think is kind of funny because you had vanilla, and each expansion has sort of been linear based on the one before it. So you had vanilla, and then you went to Outland, and then you went to Wrath, and then the Cataclysm happened. So suddenly vanilla's not there anymore, and so it's sort of like you go back in time after you level to 60, and then you go back in time to Outland, which is pre-Cataclysm, and then there's Wrath, which is also pre-Cataclysm. Then you're shot into the future for Pandaria.
Yeah.
And so this just sort of adds to that weird, complicated timeline they have going on. Even though they've described it as sort of like being an alternate timeline, which makes me wonder what's the point of this expansion, anyways.
Well, the theory is that the alternate timeline will affect our current one because they can go back through the portal and cause havoc in our existing world. I think that's how they're playing it. They just don't want to mess with too much of like the time confusion of
I think
going into the past and affecting our reality like that.
Yeah, I think the way I kind of read it, this is what's going to happen in the pre-expansion patch. Garrosh is gonna escape, and then suddenly the dark portal is gonna turn red, and all these iron horde orcs are gonna show up. Everybody's gonna go, who are these guys? Where did they come from? And and then the heroes are gonna go through the portal. So it's gonna be like an alternate timeline. The portal's not just gonna take you back in time, but also take you to this alternate reality. So both of them will exist. Like you'll have green orcs and you'll also have red orcs or something. Am I right or am I totally wrong?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how it goes. Green orcs, I think like there aren't many of them back in old Draenor. Like Thrall is kind of an
Mm,
oddity, and like the only one I think that there is Gul'dan, the evil sorcerer who nobody likes. So that could be an
yeah.
interesting thing that plays out when Thrall shows up there.
Oh, I just only thought of this now. Have any of you attended BlizzCon physically before?
No.
No, I
Oh,
unfortunately
okay.
have not. I would love to someday. It's just, it's I've actually tried to get tickets, and it's like almost impossible to get into those
Yeah,
days and time.
yeah.
It's
I have
so
some
hard.
I have some friends who live in San Diego, and they actually snuck in one year, so that was pretty fun.
That's cool. But yeah, I've actually been to the convention center for MLG events with Major League Gaming for
Oh,
StarCraft
you
2,
have?
but I
Okay.
have not been to BlizzCon. But I've watched every year, I think since 2009, virtually by buying like the DirecTV ticket.
Excellent. Okay. So back again. I was actually kind of surprised when I heard of the expansion. You know what I mean? There's like no new race, no new profession. Let's before we get into the other points, how do you guys feel about that? Is it like okay, it doesn't matter, it's no big deal, or because it's kind of interesting that this is the only expansion without a new class or a new race.
Well, for me, when you think about it, I don't really think that in particular adding a new race adds too much to the end game. It really is just like you get that one new zone where you get to play the character and you kind of have a new model to play with. So I'm not really that bothered by that. I think it's better to focus more on just really front loading their efforts onto the end game content with this, especially with the what do you call it, the jump to 90 feature people they have added for this, which I think is really
Uh-huh.
cool and is a way to really focus people on the new and on what they have with this level 90 to 100 area, which I like. New class, obviously, it'd be cool to have one because they're just really fun to always play with something new and to add diversity to the game. But for some reason, I'm really not that bothered by it. I think that it's okay as long as they really focus on just shoring up what they currently have with their current classes and just really focusing in on the content itself.
Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of new class they could have. I mean, I've heard people speculate about bards, but
All right.
my only experience with the bard has been back in EverQuest, and that class was always broken in every patch. I because I played EverQuest for about 5 years or so, and it seemed like every other week, whenever there was a patch, the bard class would get broken in somehow. Like some song wouldn't work, or it would be too overpowered, or it just wasn't ever good.
Yeah, I mean it's not even adding like a new class. If I'm right, they're not even adding new spells, right?
That's right. From what I've seen, they're adding talents that you get at level
Mm-hmm.
100, but as you level up, you're going to gain like I think the example was like an extra 50% damage to like Scorch if you're a mage.
See, I think the goal here is not really to sort of like diversify the class experience for people that are currently still committed to the game. It's more to really just like simplify things and get people who were lost previously back into it, who will still see the things they missed back in maybe Pandaria or Cataclysm that are still new and fresh to them. And I think that that is the reason why they're not really focusing on adding a bunch of new and are more so just interested in really making this a really good like sort of reset experience of WoW with like the new character models and the jump to 90 like I mentioned before.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so new character models, that's a big plus, right, for you guys?
Oh yeah.
What races do you play?
Well, I guess Mr. Corb, you would have pretty much everything at this point, probably, right?
Well, I all 11 of my characters are all on the alliance side
Right.
because
So,
that's where my guild is. But primarily I play gnomes. Whenever I get the chance to be a gnome, I'm a gnome.
so what do you
Except
think about those gnomes, the new
except in the
models?
case of monks, I didn't make a gnome monk because I wanted to make a panda,
Of
so
course.
I could experience their leveling, their early stages.
Hmm.
Um, but my main is a gnome warrior, and I love him.
Yeah, like the new gnomes look pretty sharp. It's still character. They still have. I like how the new models are looking, right? I mean, they still are very World of Warcrafty, but they did not change the character of them, right?
Right.
And I think that's good. They don't want them to look like too hyper realistic or anything. I think that keeping the spirit of WoW is good with just some touch ups.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the free 90 character thing, and I think I heard that they're actually gonna, because this is what people can do. People can buy more copies of Draenor, and then level up a character to 90, and then transfer it to their main account. And so and I think that would be like $100 or something.
Dollar
That-
shine shining in their eyes. I see the plan
Yeah.
now. Wow, that's
So
awesome.
yeah, but they said they could probably kind of add it like a new feature or a store thing, like faction change or name change, add
I wouldn't be
a
surprised.
90 level up to 90, and it makes sense, right? I mean, the game's so huge now. I think when I was in Cataclysm and I only had to level up like 85, and it still took me like a couple of months, and I kept asking my friend who got me into the game, is it worth it? Is it? I mean, I enjoyed the leveling. The leveling was fine. Actually, there was like a curve, right? I mean, because all the vanilla stuff got updated, it was really fun to level, and then you got to Outlands.
Yeah.
It was like a big dip.
Yeah,
Well,
totally.
So I kept asking, is it worth it? Is this gonna be worth it? Ah, yeah, man, definitely it's gonna be worth it. So getting a free level 90 character is definitely a big plus, and yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's a super smart idea. I think that they have mentioned it is a real problem of people losing interest leveling in the game because it's so huge now. It takes so long, like you say. And I
Yeah.
think this is a really smart way to revitalize the level 90 to 100 experience and get people back into it. And a lot of people, I mean, obviously say it's unfair. Why do they not have to do it? But I think at this point it is a wise choice, and they'll come around as they did with things in the past. Because I mean, even if you have characters, you get a new alt, which I think is really cool. Because my guild has been discussing maybe like switching to a more active server, and this is a really good way to easily make that transfer work.
That's right. Even if you want to level up your main manually, this way you can get a free character on your friend's server, all up and ready to go.
Yeah. The level 90 feature is going to be kind of wasted on me since I'm already going to have them all up there. But I've been working on my warlock lately. He's the one straggler, and boy, I hated everything from level 58 up to 80 that they outland through Wrath levels. They just felt so slow, just sort of crawling through them. And then I got to Cataclysm, and I think I went through all 5 of those levels in about a day and a half.
Yeah, you kind of needed, like, at least for Outlands and stuff, you kind of needed like one of those guide plugins kind of thing, add-ons kind of thing, to tell you where to go. Okay, now it's time to change the zone. Now it's time to move from a different quest hub to different quest hub, because if you do it as the game says, you'll just be around in one area forever.
Yeah, it's showing its age, especially with the ways that they've kind of like accelerated the XP. You'll find yourself like out leveling zones a lot faster than you would expect.
Oh, good.
So
Oh,
I
right,
think
they did that, right? Yeah.
Right, but I still think it's smart to introduce this system because it is definitely showing its age, and I think that focusing on the current content is the way to go as opposed to trying to keep people interested in the old stuff.
Okay, so as somebody who has not played World of Warcraft for a bunch of years now, I think the two features in the new expansion that really got me thrilled is funnily the new raiding thing becoming flex, and then the new itemization thing by getting rid of stats like dodge, parry, and then the same gear is going to be good enough for different specs, right? Like healers can use the same gear, priests can use the same gear for healing and DPS, tanks can use the same gear for when they turn into their DPS thing.
Yeah.
So
the stats do swap like when you switch spec, which is a really good idea.
I think that's such a brilliant thing. I mean, I would say this is World of Warcraft, Warlords of Draenor, Rides of Hybrids.
Yeah,
Right?
there's no more groaning in raids when int plate drops, and it's like, oh, we don't have any damn paladins.
I mean, if I
and
come
not
back
just
to
that,
the
but
game.
trying to build a second. Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Oh, I was just gonna say, if I'm gonna come back to the game, I think I'm just Hunter used to be my main. Then I switched over to DK, and then I also have a Druid. But I'm gonna make my Druid my main. With this thing, playing a Druid is gonna be so easy. I can go from a cat to a bear to a boonkin to whatever, a tree anytime, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe that's how it's going to work. And it used to be such a pain to build secondary specs for your
Yeah.
guild when they needed something different. And this is just such a good way to let people not only be helpful to the guild, but also have like new and different ways to play whenever they want.
Yeah, and it means more bank space too, because I got my whole tank set lined up in my bank, and my bank is full. I have it's all 22 slot bags, and every single slot is just packed.
Yeah, okay. Do you guys raid? So what do you think of the new raiding thing where flex is going to become normal? Wait, I should have brought up the new raiding system that I kind of have. Uh,
It is,
Uh,
I believe the way it works is LFR is going to stay as is, but it works like Flex now, where you don't have to have the full 25 randomly selected people to be able to progress. If you lose people along the way,
right.
it will adjust and scale. And then Flex, or I think Flex stays as is, and then they introduce
flex
normal
becomes
as
normal, I think.
Yeah,
sort of,
normal
yeah.
and heroic modes are both going to be flex from
Right,
turn
Right.
25.
they both shift down and they both work like Flex, where you can scale as you want. You don't have to have specific groups, which we've been experiencing. My guild has how good Flex is because we've had inactivity issues, and it's just so helpful to fill slots. And it's a really brilliant idea. I don't know why they didn't do it before. Having to stick to a very specific set of people really sucked, especially if people were left out and stuff like that. It's just really, really smart. But yeah, and then heroic. There's like a new heroic called Mythic, where it's a set 20, which I know is causing some consternation among heroic 10-man guilds that now have to find 10 more people to keep with their hardcore experience, which I guess is the only flaw. But I think that in the end, if they can work that out and really scale the balance or like the difficulty of the encounter to 20, and that's the best way, then they should do it.
Yeah, I mean, my experience when I was with Cataclysm is raiding is definitely fun. That's what I want to do. And I got kicked out of my guild because, my guild moved from a 25 man to a 10 man. And then I had to start pugging and become a raid leader myself. And it was such a hard thing to just get people, you sit
Yeah.
in Stormwind, and my server was a low pop server on top of
Oh.
everything. So it was horrible. But this like answers, this solves the problem. Now you don't need, how many of our people. I think there's a minimum, right? You still need more than like 10 people to
10,
do
yeah,
it.
10
Yeah,
is
you still need 10.
But still, it's
Okay,
really
okay.
smart. Flex is just a brilliant, brilliant concept, and I'm glad that it's now in effect, and they're really scaling it all through the system up to the Mythic, which is the only set one now.
Excellent. Okay. So the loot thing, I kind of don't understand how it's gonna work. So they said not gonna have like hard points, like, oh, so many pieces are gonna drop for 10 people, so many pieces are gonna drop for 15 people. It's gonna be more dynamically scaling, right?
Right. It's going to be the more raiders you have in the flex modes, the more loot you're going to have drop.
And the way Flex works right now is if you guys haven't played this in LFR and in Flex now, the way you get loot is singularly based on your own character. So you just have a chance of either getting loot or getting gold. And so it kind of kills the group experience, but of course it works better for pug groups because you don't have to worry about assigning loot to the right people and having to deal with that.
Oh wow!
Right.
So I haven't been around. So if you can repeat that again. So right now in Flex, every person gets his own loot.
Well, it has a
much.
chance, but it's a pretty low chance, and normally you'll find yourself
Okay.
getting gold
I think it's
from
like
each box.
25% chance you get loot.
Okay, okay.
That's what I've heard it was. And but for the expansion, they're going to set it so that you can choose if you want to have raid loot or if you want to have personal loot.
Which is really
Okay.
smart because for
Yeah.
the guild flex groups, that's a good way to, of course, have that fun loot sharing experience. But when you have pug groups, it's better to have the solo for sure.
Right.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons kind of when I walked away from WoW, and I like the Guild Wars system, and which is kind of like the Diablo system where everybody, when something drops, it's for them. They don't have to like roll need or greed or something. I hope they carried over to everything. Okay, so item squish, what do you guys think about that? It's like a housekeeping thing. Didn't bother
Yeah,
much.
but it was just needed at this point. The stats were getting so huge. I mean, it's just a smart idea to reduce those numbers while still having the same like efficacy. I just think they had to get it to work eventually. Obviously, it's a kind of a mess to figure out, and I'm glad they finally got it working.
Unbuffed right now, my warrior is about 600k health, and he does an average of about 200,000 damage a second. which I wasn't doing before I got my legendary cloak.
Right. Yeah, it's absurd.
I
But
think
I see other people, mostly arms warriors, because they have such great AOE abilities, and they're doing like 500,000 damage per second on just trash pulls.
Right. On
It's
the
hilarious.
AoE damage is so
Oh yeah,
crazy sometimes. Like those cannons in Siege of Orgrimmar that you use to clear mobs doing upwards of a
right.
million damage per
Yeah,
shot. It's insane. So yeah.
it reminds me of a bug that was in Cataclysm for like 3 hours after a patch came up. Paladins were doing insane damage. It's like Consecrate or something.
oh
It was
yeah,
it was
yeah.
it just shot their meters through the roof, and they had emergency downtime to fix it.
So yeah, it's just a good thing to have, and I look forward to just having to not look at all these huge numbers and trying to crunch them and stuff like that.
Okay, so the next big feature is Garrison, and what do you guys think about it? I think the big features are you're gonna have your own thing in Draenor. You can set up your own house and stuff like that. You can add monuments depending on what achievements you get, and then you can hire followers who are gonna mine and gather herbs and stuff like that automatically. So, what do you guys think of it? And I think you can invite your friends and stuff over, right? So there's
Yeah.
no reason this can't become like a guild thing also. So
And for
everybody
role
goes
players,
and
it's cool to be able to utilize these instance zones. As someone who's role played in games in the past, it's actually a really cool thing
oh,
for them.
that's right also, yeah. And can act as guild all also, right? You guys can could probably go to your guild leaders, garrison, hang out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someone asked if they would be able to see your alts roaming around at your garrison, and they said they think that's a really cool idea, but since it's all character-based stuff and not like an account-wide thing, they don't see how they can do it. But I'd love it if they could, because I'd walk in with my warrior, and there'd be my monk over there at the stove cooking, or there's my druid sitting out front, maybe being a tree, something like that.
That's awesome. I hope they do make that happen. Yeah, I mean, garrisons are definitely cool. Like I'm a big fan of player housing in the various games I've played, and while garrisons aren't as great as the others, I think because of the limited customization, I think at the end of the day, everyone's gonna kind of have similar setups as they upgrade in a sort of linear fashion, and it's kind of just like the outdoor buildings that you upgrade. But still, I mean, it's cool.
Hmm.
The gathering with recruit system that you have with NPCs is actually very similar to something that they do in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO by BioWare, where you have your companions who run out and get you crafting materials and stuff like that, which is a pretty cool system if you kind of like managing like various things without having to go out on your own and do the grinding. I'm not really a huge fan of it personally, but I mean it's cool to be able to have things running while you're not in the game that are time based. I think that's just a nice cool feature to have.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a great alternative to daily quests, right? I mean, you have daily quests to get
Oh,
people into the
yes.
game every day, but this way it's kind of like farm villas. You want to log in
Yeah.
every day just to send off your minions off to do quests and stuff like that. But it makes a lot of sense, yeah.
Yeah, that was one thing people really hated about Pandaria, was that there were all these daily quests you had available to you when you were level 80, and
Oh
I
man,
I
when
think I spent like 3 hours a day on those,
yeah, me
just
too.
doing everything.
When I came back to the game, Throne of Thunder was already out, so I had the
Oh,
Isle of Thunder dailies, the Golden
oh,
Lotus,
jeez.
Clack. I had Operation Shield Wall 2 just all at once, and I was doing
Yeah,
them all a day, and it was just so much. And
yeah,
I'm
it was ridiculous.
and I'm glad that in this expansion they're actually going to be taking daily quests out of the equation entirely. They're going to be focusing more on exploration and atmospheric content that kind of manifests as you go through the world. And I
Mhm.
think that they've been trying that with the Timeless Isle in the last patch for Mist of Pandaria, and
Right,
I think
right.
it's really smart.
Oh,
It's
oh, was it worse in Pandaria? I mean, in Cataclysm, rep grind, at
It was
least,
way worse.
you could do it through daily quests, but or you could just wear a tabard and just go do your dungeons, right? So was it right in Pandaria you did not have tabards, you had to
Right.
do
They
the
they took
Exactly.
quests.
out the tabards, and then later on, after so many people complained, they added in the championing system, where basically you could open up your rep window and you'd click on a little star, and then you'd earn rep for completing dungeons.
Yeah, but only once a day, so it was still a lot
Right.
slower than the
Oh
tabards were still
wow.
fast.
Hmm.
And they also eventually added you could double the rep you got when you got to level,
Yeah.
which helped with your ults too, because leveling rep on your ult is such a pain in the ass after you've already done it on your main. But yeah, Definitely the system is better, I think.
Oh yeah, and I think I should have brought this up when I did the itemization thing. But they're gonna do away. Now you're gonna have less enchants. You're gonna have less
Hmm.
sockets and stuff like that. I'm up all for it. I mean, it's just the gears are getting just was so complicated to deal with. You guys
Totally.
like that?
Personally, I'm kind of the min-maxer type, so I love kind of going through the system and plotting out the best enchants and gems and reforging. So I will miss that personally. Like I do that in all games, even single-player games like Dragon Age. I'll go through
Uh-huh.
it and try to find the best stat items and to get the best gear and stuff like that. But I think this is a smart change regardless. It just got to be too much to a point, and it was really pointless because people would always just go to like various websites that would tell them the most optimal choice, and that really takes away from the experience when you kind of have to look it up to figure out what
Right.
to do best.
Yeah, I use Ask Mr. Robot almost
Yeah.
every day, and really it's all the gems and enchants are why I leveled so many characters up to 90. It's because I wanted to be able to do my own gems. I wanted to be able to make my own enchants, my own
Yeah.
leather working. What are those things called for the legs?
The spell threads and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
the spell threads. And so that's really why I started leveling my alts, was so I could raise up the trade skills and all of them, just so I didn't have to go to the auction house and pay crazy amounts of money to buy them.
The concern, of course, though,
Yeah.
is how it's going to affect the economy because a lot of the trading on the auction house that is done is based on crafting enchants and gems. But I think they have said they are aware of that and do want to kind of shift it to be more focused on, I guess, I can't remember exactly what they said, but I think just less like stat-focused stuff.
Yeah, there'll be like a huge deflation with the raw materials also, right? I mean, things are already pretty deflated with the Chinese gold sellers and everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But now everybody is now a Chinese gold seller.
I was watching the PvP tournament just after we finished recording last weekend, and in the chat someone was making a joke because one of the teams was from South Korea, and someone was making a joke that, oh, while they're doing this, they're also gold farming in a separate window.
Well, there was Conan O'Brien was casting the arenas, which was so funny because he obviously doesn't know much about the game. It was
Right.
absolutely
Wait,
hilarious.
Conan O'Brien was at BlizzCon or something,
Yeah.
or this was at the show?
He was. It was hilarious.
Oh wow, I need to check that out then.
So good. You should. I
Oh,
don't even watch WoW Arena, but I tuned in for that, and it was just he was definitely the perspective of the guy like me who knows nothing about WoW Arena. So it was so fun.
I think they're doing a couple of cool things with PvP. One of them is the zone and stuff. But the one I like to talk about is the Trial of the Gladiators. And this is very much like Guild War 2 system. Like you go there in this Gladiator Arena, Trial of the Gladiators, and they basically give you the gear. You have access to all the top gear and everything, enchants and all that. You don't have to worry about it. And it's basically going to be about a skill thing. So everybody has the same gear. You're basically playing for ranks and points and not for money or anything like that. What do you guys think of it?
I personally don't know much about PvP because I
Okay.
Yeah, me
don't really
too.
PvP at all, except when it forces me to.
All right, for the legendary quest,
Yeah.
to do
Oh,
those
that
two,
was.
which was a pain as Alliance because
Oh,
we
yeah.
always lose the Silver Shard mines, like every time.
Yeah, I
Took
think
so
I
long.
must have gone through that 10 times just trying to get a win.
Exactly.
But the other one, it was like first time, I was like, hey,
Right.
this is easy.
That one's definitely easier. I think it's like weirdly skewed for Horde and Silver Shard, like the placement of the spawns, but whatever. I too do not really like PvP and WoW that much. It's never really been my thing. I do dabble in it occasionally, but it's always kind of been PvE for me. So yeah, it's not. I don't really know much, but I do want to mention that the world PvP zone they're trying to do with Warlords of Draenor looks really cool. The way they're doing it with cross server, trying to always keep it populated and keep the battle constantly going. People have always like tried to get back to that whole world PvP idea in WoW that they had back in vanilla, and of course they tried it with Wintergrass, but it was still timed when you could go in.
Right.
And it got kind of formulaic and sort of imbalanced at times too. So I think that the way they're doing this to try to keep it balanced with the cross server and to try to keep the battle always going is really smart. I might actually have to go in there and play because I do love the world PvP.
Yeah, I personally never experienced world PvP at all because of how late I got into the game. And of course, I was also playing on a PvE server, so I never saw that. I don't think I ever saw any of the hours-long AV games that I've heard so much about, where like you spend 10 hours or whatever going back and forth.
Yeah, I didn't play high enough level in vanilla to get involved in that either, but I have heard the fond stories of how cool
Hmm.
that was. So I hope that they do recapture that experience for the fans of that. And again,
Right.
I will be definitely checking it out.
Spawning the Forest Lord or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, I think I wasn't much of a PvP player. I mean, I hated arenas and stuff like that. But I kind of had to do them because that was a guaranteed way of getting good weapons and stuff like that right away. You know, getting
Right.
good gear.
Hmm.
Definitely, you lose some for resilience, but it was a very quick way of getting nice, decent raid level gear uh, very quickly. And yeah, so good for them. So I guess we can't really talk about much about this, but World of Warcraft the movie. So have you guys listened to the panel?
Yeah, I watched the panel, and I mean it's cool. I think that they've been like going over this for so long, trying to figure out how to make it work, and I think that finally they have the system in place. They're not going to trash it this time, and they're going to make it happen. So it's cool to hear that at least that they're actually on the production train.
I
Yeah.
I don't know too much about the movie itself, but I did see a comic a couple months back about how they're gonna get people to go see the movie, and it's that that there would be a quest in the game where you then have to go see the movie, and there will be something in the movie that happens that you then have to go back into the game and answer, and that's how they're gonna drive box office.
Or watch the movie and unlock a
Yeah,
mount or something.
something like
Right.
that.
Yeah, they'll do some promotion for sure, some kind of cross promotion. But yeah, I think it should be pretty popular. I think that WoW culturally is pretty pervasive in most places. I don't know if it'll like be super blockbuster like Marvel level hit, but I think that it should do pretty well.
Hmm.
I guess it depends how it's produced. If it flops, it could it could affect them pretty badly. But I don't know. It's cool. There's of course that fabled Comic Con teaser that was played only for the people at the event that no one's seen, and apparently
Oh
they didn't
yeah,
want to
that's
show
such a
people.
weird thing, right? I mean, come on. What's the
But
point of
let's see
having a
it. Come on.
trailer if you don't show it to anybody?
Exactly. I don't know. But I think what they've said about the plotting so far is that it's going to focus on the Warcraft one sort of first invasion of Azeroth by the orcs,
Right.
with King Lane for the Alliance, and I want to say what's his name, the first war chief, Doomhammer, I think Orgrim Doomhammer was the
Hmm.
word
Troll's
guy.
father, right?
I think Durotan is Thrall's father.
Oh, the
It's hard to keep track of all these orc names. But of course, we're getting all these characters in Warlords of Draenor, so maybe that'll catch us up
Right.
on this kind of stuff.
Yeah, the expansion's going to be about 30 years in the past.
Which I think is the same sort of time that this stuff in the movie happened, so it's
Uh-huh.
intelligent cross promotion for sure.
Right.
hmm Yeah, I kind of also heard that it's going to be like just get a party together and these guys are going to do some dungeon or go do a raid. I mean, not exactly like that, but the movie is going to be like get a party of people and go defeat this big boss or something.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to see how it develops in future months. I think they're still a couple years out from actually having a release set. I think they're targeting 2015 mid times, like so many movies seem to be lately.
Oh yeah, I
Right.
think that's going to be the same time when Star Wars is going to come
Star
out
Wars
also.
is the end of the year. They did set the
Okay.
release apparently December 2015, so that should be fun.
So anything else World of Warcraft related we can discuss before we move on to our next game?
I can't think of anything right now. All I know is that I think that this expansion will be really cool. I think that, like I say, my favorite feature is actually the level 90 push thing because I think that will add a lot in terms of people coming back. I think that really will stimulate that if done right.
Yeah. The thing I'm really looking forward to is removing hit expertise, dodge, and parry,
Oh
because
yeah,
just
yeah.
getting to the thresholds you need for those, it was such a pain to do. And it was sort of like that in Wrath also when you had armor penetration, which was like the stat for all melee. And so you get up to your whatever the armor penetration threshold was, and then you start stacking strength. That was how I did it. But they are adding what they call tertiary stats, which is going to be stuff like sturdiness and movement speed and lifesteal, avoidance and cleave, which is
Right.
and they're starting to put some of that into the game now with some of the trinkets that have been dropping in the current raid, and so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, just nice little like fun stuff that sort of augments
Hmm.
you without being too game breaking statistically. I like that kind of
hmm
stuff. I think that's a
hmm
good way to go.
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So yeah, all in all, it's a very promising expansion. So yeah, I think they hit all the right buttons. They're targeting everybody. They're targeting people who left the game with the free level 90 character thing. They're targeting all the existing players with all these quality of life things. So they're targeting PvPers with the trial of the gladiator thing. So yeah, yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah, they have to do something. I mean, the subscriber numbers are falling daily, right? I mean, it's at it's at what? It's at 9 million now, 8 million now.
Yeah,
It
my guild is a ghost town.
Right. I think that that's the big issue is just kind of revitalizing server health. I think that at the end of the day, they're not going to be able to get the same numbers they had before just because the game is so dated now. It's like 9 or 10 years at this point, and I think
Plus,
that
plus people have so many new options now. There's Guild
exactly.
Wars 2 for people who can spend $20, $80. Well, no, $40. And then
Right.
there's Rift now that's free to play. There's SWTOR that's free to play. There's Neverwinter that's free to play. EverQuest Next Landmark is like around the corner. So it's like a different scenario. It's a different landscape right now.
Yeah, I mean, free to play is really the order of the day at this point, and WoW is still subscriber based and still is the best and most healthy subscriber game. So no reason to drop that yet, and I think that
Yeah.
they're still doing a fine job.
Although they are starting to merge servers together.
Yeah, and I like that. That is, I think, a good choice, even if
Yeah.
people say, "Oh no, it means they're losing people." But I think that you have to focus on keeping the current people happy.
hmm
Mhm.
And if they get more people, they'll obviously probably add more servers to compensate.
This probably is a good time to talk about Titan also. Strangely, we haven't heard anything about Titan except, I think it was 3 months ago. We kind of heard that they're gonna hit a big reset button.
Right.
Right.
But
Com-
I wished I wish that something came out about Titan. But yeah.
Yeah, they apparently are resetting it completely, so I guess there's nothing to talk about right now. But they, I guess, do have an interest in rebuilding it into something more current. I think that's like the issue with big, like long development cycles these days with like Blizzard games is they have this awesome idea 5 years ago, but 5 years later it's no longer relevant, and I guess that's what they're right into with this
Yeah.
one. So hopefully they
Yeah.
figure that out.
Excellent. Okay, so let's talk about Hearthstone. So both of you are in the beta, right?
Yep.
And have you guys already spent real money on it?
I
Yes.
have probably dropped at least $50 in there. I have played it a ton. I really love card games, and this one definitely appeals to me because, of course, I love WoW characters, and I love the casual atmosphere of it and kind of the way the gameplay runs. And I don't really have a lot of people around me to play physical card games with anymore, so it's cool to just get it all done online.
Yeah, that's the same with me. How about you, Bill?
I've spent about half as much as you have, Zach, and it's fun to a point. I'm kind of waiting for more people in my guild to get into the beta so I can start playing against them. So there's kind of a slowdown for me there because so many of them aren't really playing games that much these days. We have a Facebook group where we talk about stuff, and I think maybe 2 or 3 of them are actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think I spent like about $60 on the game so far, and got like 280 cards from it. Yeah, yeah, it's definitely a lot of fun. I gave Magic a try once, Magic the Gathering a try, but the game's
Right.
just too complicated for me, and I did not play it as a kid, and now to get into it is like
Right.
crazy.
And I think that's really what sets Hearthstone apart. And I think the thing they mastered with this is just creating a game that's so casual and easy to get into, but also, if you really want to, has really complicated, like high level skill cap if you really want to optimize, which I think they did a really good job with this one.
I'm curious, what leagues are you guys in?
Masters 3, I think, is that the highest?
Oh wow,
I'm
really?
super competitive with games, yeah, so I got up there. I mostly play Arena now when I have the money for it, though.
How about you,
Yeah,
Bill?
I'm nowhere near that into it. I mostly was playing against the AI and then some random play battles here and there, but nothing quite that,
Okay,
nothing ranked.
I'm at platinum right now, platinum 1 star.
Right. It took me a little while to get back to it. I was Masters 3 back before the pre-wipe. I was in beta before they wiped all the
Oh,
cards and stuff. So yeah, it's been fun though
oh
to
wow,
to
yeah.
play with the new cards and the new meta, the meta game that's forming around it. So yeah, it's really cool right now.
Yeah, I just found the deck list in the
Right.
Innkeepers tournament, so I'm gonna try make Arthos's paladin deck and see
Yeah,
how it does.
that deck got him some big wins. Definitely really strong.
So did you guys watch the tournament too?
I did watch a lot of it. I actually had to podcast on Mass Effect last weekend when it was happening, so I missed some games, but I went back and watched. So
Yeah.
yeah, it was really great. I'm a fan of a lot of the people that were in the tournament, and it was really fun for me. And wow, I mean, like 100,000 people tuned in for the final, so definitely maybe a good future for Hearthstone competitively.
Yeah, I'm glad they made it free stream, so I was able to watch it too. So yeah, it was surprisingly very good. I didn't think it was going to be so good, and the games were so close. Bill, you couldn't watch it, right?
Right. I did find a blue post, however, that said they were going to be posting some preliminary rounds on their YouTube
Oh,
channel.
that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't show the first week for people that weren't or the first day for people who weren't at the event, so it'll be cool. Like to watch Day 9 play, of course. Big
Yeah.
fan of
Yeah.
that
I got beat so bad.
guy. Right.
It's nice. It's nice. All the celebrities and all the big personalities from StarCraft and World of Warcraft are involved with this, and it's so good because I haven't been in touch with these guys or kept up with them what they've been up
Right.
to after I kind of left the Star Wars
And
StarCraft thing.
how about Artosis taking the event? I don't
Oh
think anyone
man.
expected that. But he apparently was practicing so hard. Everyone thought he was just kind of one of the personality invites that would just get knocked out in the first round like the other ones did. But he beat like the two big players that people always like to hype up for Hearthstone, Trump and Kriparan. And what a
Yeah,
way to do it
yeah,
too. Oh.
yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I really look up to Kripparrian because Kripparrian is also an hunter in World of Warcraft, and that's where I usually go to find my rotations to get all my what stat to stack and things like that. So that guy's been really a ton of
Yeah.
help to me.
Back in the pre-beta, when there weren't too many people in it, I played him a couple times, beat him once, lost once. I was playing a super cheesy or really gimmicky deck though. The time I beat him and constructed, it was a Shadow Priest deck that like basically tries to kill your opponent as fast as I can. So it was pretty funny. I actually beat him with the same card that Artosis did, a Leper Gnome, to finish it, which is
Have you seen the video of the guy with the deck that has 24 legendaries in it?
Yeah, yeah. I think two
Total
of
Biscuit
Total Biscuit
Yeah.
or both do
and
legend
Wow Krender also has like a legendary deck.
with Murlocs. That's hilarious.
Half Murlocs, half legendaries, right?
He says that they spend so much time clearing the Murlocs, they don't expect the legendaries later. It's really funny. He's obviously hilarious. WoW videos too.
I mean, and that's the thing about this game is it's so easy for newcomers like us to kind of think of, or at least like me, to think of new strategies right away. I mean, the Murloc deck makes perfect sense to me, while in Magic it would be like unimaginable. So I'm so intimidated. I don't think I can make a Magic deck after months.
Yeah, totally. It's
But
really
with this, it's so approachable. It's like all you need is like a couple of days at the game, and you could start coming up with your own decks.
yeah.
Right.
Excellent. So yeah, good things to look for it. I mean, it's gonna be on iPads, iPhones, and tablets soon, and Android soon. And I hope it's all gonna be like cross-playable, like iPad people can play Android people, and so on. I mean, that's just gonna be amazing.
Yeah, that's really smart. I think that'll help the game a ton to put it on the mobile devices. I know I'll be playing it more than I already do when I'm on buses and things, so that'll be cool for sure.
Oh, you think you can do that? Because I mean, well, okay, long commutes definitely, but you can't really pick this up and have like a quick 5-minute game, right? You can at
Well,
least need like a 20 minutes to play this.
yeah, I guess. I think that the games are pretty quick usually though, and like they're not like super long like StarCraft or the Dota games tend to be. But you're
Mm.
right that it is, but it's just a smart idea for people to play like in different areas in their PC, even if it can't be done too much with short commutes.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't really play games on my phone too much, so this will probably be my first foray into that.
Yeah, all the games on my phone are all those like Bedazzled or no Bejeweled, sorry, and all
Right.
those kind of like Temple Run, kind of like those quick 5-minute games to kind of play. Uh,
Angry Birds.
Angry Birds.
It would be interesting if they even make a new sort of game mode that is a little bit faster, like 15 health, less cards or something. Maybe they'll decide.
Yeah, that makes sense. Excellent, and all lots of new stuff to look forward to. I think they're gonna increase the ranks, right? Instead of just having your bronze, gold, platinum, and diamond or masters, they're gonna add these 25 levels of things, right? Now you can be a chicken to
Yeah, and hopefully like
Ragnarok towards the top.
a full-on ladder system like StarCraft where you can kind of see your rank compared to other people, which will be cool.
Yeah. I think this is really great because I mean I really enjoyed the StarCraft's rank system, the matchmaking system, but the games were just too tough for me. So this is perfect. I get the same kind of competitive thing out of it. You know, it's still the same thrill when you beat a real life person, as it was when I did it in StarCraft.
Right.
But
And
here I can do it more often.
of course. And are also adding features for the people that like unranked to have more kind of like things they can unlock, like cards and portraits and things. So that'll be cool too.
hmm Yeah, I just kind of have a concern though. I kind of feel, I mean, I guess this is not really a concern. This is what the trading card game is all about. You kind of have to spend money, right? I mean, it's not directly X dollar spent is equal to your X good, but you kind of have to spend money on these things.
Yeah, but I think they did a good job balancing it, where if you do play it casually and you like kind of do the quests every day and you win a decent amount, you can like do pretty okay. Like I think that you can do a pack a day pretty easily,
Yeah.
just based on that
Mhm.
if you play a decent amount.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
And if
Any-
all you play is just arena, then you don't have to worry about buying cards anyways, because it's all
Well,
provided for you there. Even though you have to create your deck.
And it
but
costs $2 every time. But generally, if you get pretty good at it, you can reimburse yourself pretty easily if that's the way you make it.
yeah, that's true. Because 150 gold, in-game gold is kind of hard for me to get around.
Yeah, it used to be a lot worse actually pre-beta. Now they have it where if you get 3 wins in constructed, you get 10 gold. It used to be you had to get 5 wins for 5 gold. I think it was like a lot harder to get that.
Yeah, it's like I mean that's the problem I had. I was doing the dailies thing. Oh, now I have to go switch over and do a warlock. Now I have to go switch over and do a rogue. And I was really bad. I was stuck at what's the next one? Silver. I was stuck at Silver League forever. And then I was like, nope, I'm gonna stick with my paladin. You know, make it as best as I can. And I'm just playing my paladin, and I got to platinum right now. So I think it's kind of harmful, especially initially in the game having making the people switch between multiple champions because it's
Yeah.
just gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna
I think there's still a lot of room to improve the dailies. I think that the way they do it now, where it's kind of still class based, it was actually worse pre-beta, but they added some more focused on like doing damage and stuff. But I still think it's pretty bad,
yeah
and I think that they'll probably be improving that in the future. I'm pretty sure that's a goal of theirs to make them more interesting and less class focused.
yeah, that makes sense. You know, do it on damage to champions, damage to minions, and things like that. Okay, anything else we want to discuss on about Hearthstone before we move on to the next one?
Nothing I can think of.
No, I think we're good.
Excellent. Okay, so let's talk about Heroes of Storm, the upcoming MOBA from Blizzard. What do you guys think about it?
I have absolutely no experience with any game in that genre, so I really can't comment.
Yeah, I have sunk more hours than I care to admit into League of Legends and Dota 2. I'm a big fan of those games as well as StarCraft in
Oh, you
terms of
are
the
okay.
competitive. Yeah, I played them a ton. I have actually all of the champions in League of Legends, which is not cheap either.
Oh, okay.
These are definitely my money sinks for sure, these kind of games. But yeah, I think it's really cool. I think it's cool that Blizzard is finally jumping into the Dota MOBA space, as people call it. And I look forward to seeing how it goes. I didn't watch too much of the stuff on Heroes of the Storm, but I think that the way they're kind of emphasizing their own take on it with less like item based play and more like leveling up kind of stuff and objectives and things like that. I think it's cool and it's different, and I think to succeed in this you have to be different. The big one being that they're doing different maps, which is very
Yeah, it's not just going to be Summoner's Rift at all. It's going to have a lot more things going on with it.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how.
And no more shop also, right? You're not going to be buying items. You're going to be instead picking skills and stuff like that.
Right, and I think that's a cool way to do it. And again, it's different, and I look forward to hopefully getting in the beta and playing that one a lot and seeing what it's like. I think it's weird that that the way they kind of described it, and it's strange that this development process for this game has been going so long, and
Yeah.
they've kind of lost the opportunity because Valve and Riot swept up the game that started in their game in Warcraft 3 Dota. It started there, so you can
Right.
definitely get that weird sense of like sour grapes from them, that they're not happy they lost that chance, and hopefully they can pull it back. I think the thing they have really going for them is it's Blizzard, and you know all these familiar characters like Arthas and Kerrigan and stuff, and it's going to be cool to play as them.
Yeah, I'm really excited about Heroes of Storm. I mean, the only MOBA game I'm kind of familiar with is League of Legends, and I think I attempted it twice, and both the times I kind of spent about a month and left. I think I'm at like level 7 or something.
Yeah. I
That's
have 2 level 30s. I've played it so much, it's ridiculous.
yeah, I think I kept hitting this wall, I get good enough, decent enough, I know the basics, but I kind of hit a wall, and to get past it, I kind of have to like put down some serious time, serious research. Every champion has his build items I need to buy and things like that, and all the jargon is just too intimidating. Oh yeah, top carry, all those kind of
Yeah, it's
things.
so much. The learning curve for knowing all that stuff. Now, I have that problem in Dota too, which I played later, and I still am not familiar. Like I know all the basics, but I have to learn this whole new set of semantics and things like that.
Right,
Um,
and now by just changing away the maps, it's no longer Summoner's Rift. It's like what top, what bottom, what middle.
well, I think that the goal with this is to get away from the weird, like hard to figure out stuff by getting rid of items and stuff, and really trying to emphasize team play and a more casual experience. I think that it really sucks sometimes to play those games by yourself because you have to deal with people that can be quite toxic when you don't they don't know when they know that you don't know.
Yeah.
And
And
I
I'm
think
so the other thing that kind of really surprised me when I watched the panel was Dustin Browder and all the StarCraft 2 developers are on this now.
well, it makes sense. It's based similar on a similar engine. Actually, I think the same engine, slightly.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, it's a good choice. I guess the question a lot of StarCraft people are asking is, what about our game? But they seem to be splitting their attention quite well on that, and there are people that are completely dedicated to StarCraft still. So yeah, I like that. I think that they've done a pretty good job with StarCraft, and I think they'll do a good job with this.
I mean, that's very smart of them to bring these people over. I mean, they're perfect. They're perfect for this game to develop this one. So yeah. So they've started the beta thing right away. You could check the box in on your Blizzard account thing, but no dates on when this is going to be out or anything, right?
Yeah, I imagine beta will probably be early next year at the earliest, but it should be cool to see how that plays out. I think that at the end of the day, even if it's not like an amazing game, I think the spirit of this was captured by that cinematic they released with it, with all the different Blizzard game characters fighting. It's so epic and cool, and a lot of people want to experience that, I think.
Excellent.
I mean, watching Diablo fight Jim Raynor and Nova fighting Arthas, it was just so cool. It was just so exhilarating, and I think that'll be what they're riding on mostly.
Yeah, somebody actually, this was on the Game Breaker show. Somebody asked, well, they're pulling all the existing Blizzard characters, right? At some point, they're going to run out of characters. And somebody was like, have you ever played a Blizzard game? They're going to have some, I mean, they have Abathur in this game. Abathur is like, who's that guy?
Exactly, and they have so many side characters to draw on that they can do new and interesting stuff with the more established guys. I think that's definitely not a concern.
I mean, they're gonna have like Leroy Jenkins if they're gonna have like, yeah, they're never gonna run out of people for this. Excellent. Okay, anything else before we move on to Diablo?
No, I think there really isn't like a whole lot to say about Heroes of the Storm for me, at least. I think that they have a good concept. I can't wait to play it as a big MOBA fan, and I think that they're on the right track with the way they're going about it.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this does what Hearthstone did to Magic the Gathering. This does what, this does to Dotas and
Yeah.
League of Legends. I mean, not oversimplify things, but just do something different. Just
Right. I think that is their goal, and they seem to be on the right track again. They do say they want to have competitive elements for the people interested in that, because obviously League and Dota are the most popular competitive games by far right now. So getting the best of both worlds with that is definitely their goal.
excellent. Okay, so let's talk about Diablo. The new upcoming expansion, Reaper of Souls. That's the big talking point. So I think the big features are it's gonna have one new act, so an Act 5. It's gonna have one new class, the Crusader, and I think the big features they're adding are adventure mode. That sounds really promising. So on the whole, what do you guys think about Diablo? It actually did not do well. Not a looks like I don't think the people were talking about this. I think the star of the show was Heroes of Storm, and of course Draenor.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Diablo 3 was not met with the kind of reception they probably hoped for when it first released. A lot of people had issues with the way the loot system worked, the real money auction house, which they are getting
Yeah,
rid of
yeah.
next year because it didn't really work out.
Well, they're
It
getting
did
rid of the
actually.
auction houses entirely.
Yeah,
Right.
that's something.
Yeah, definitely a huge change, and I think a smart one based on the reaction. I think that it ruined some of the loot experience that people really loved about the older Diablo games. Obviously, like we all said, we're not that familiar with that experience, but it's clear that they made some missteps with Diablo 3 that they seem to be pretty aware of with this expansion. They're interested in rectifying those.
And the adventure mode is something that's really cool. So now you only have to go through the campaign once, and everything's unlocked, and the adventure mode lets you pick any difficulty anytime, so you don't have to like progress through
Yeah.
what's the difficulty order: normal, nightmare, hell, inferno. So you no longer have to go through the game 4 times to get to inferno.
Yeah.
If you're good enough a player, you can immediately like drop down the list and say inferno mode.
Yeah, honestly, it's about time for that. Having to go through the content so many times definitely killed my experience with it. And I think that that was an issue for a lot of more casual Diablo players that felt like they wanted higher difficulties but had to do the same story over and over again, which was really
Yeah,
annoying at
yeah.
times.
So I
Yeah,
think
I
that,
was
that
I was new to Diablo with Diablo 3, and after my third time through, it was just like, what more is there to do?
All
You
right,
know,
I
I
have to watch Deckard Cain die again,
yeah,
and I have
I've
to kill
I've
those things in the desert that are so annoying. And
I mean,
yeah,
I can start stockpiling gold to open the next skill level of the hidden pony level, but other than that, there's just nothing to do.
I mean, adventure mode sounds like the perfect thing for to listen to a podcast. I mean, get your podcast queued and playing, and then just turn to adventure mode and just go there and kill. It's a perfect way to spend the end of a day or something.
yeah, and that's really kind of the goal with dungeon crawlers, to just have that fun grinding experience. And I think that they kind of missed the mark on that, and this seems to be a good way to get back to it.
Yeah, yeah. I hope it's not going to be too expensive. I mean, do you guys think you will get this? So you guys are going to get this, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I wasn't a huge Diablo fan, but like I play every Blizzard game, and the story seems to be shaping up into something pretty cool. And like I did like the Diablo 3 story the first time through. I thought it was pretty
Mm-hmm.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah.
just having to do it again and again was what was sucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally don't have any plans to get this. I'm just not a big Diablo player.
Yeah, I was actually not too impressed when I heard this on BlizzCon, and I was going to give this a pass, but because one act is not sufficient enough. But the adventure mode is definitely very interesting when I kind of went through it more carefully and read what it's about. Definitely, I think if it's going to be $60, I'm
It
gonna
won't be. It
wait, I
won't be
guess.
60 bucks. No way they would make you pay that much for a full act.
I mean, StarCraft 2 expansion was $60, so there's
Yeah,
very good
but
chance this might might be $60 also.
Yeah, but StarCraft 2, it has so much more going for it than just the single player, and I think that that is kind of the main emphasis for Diablo by comparison. I
Hmm.
do think that $60 still is a bit much for Heart of the Swarm, by the way, but still, I think that this will be less. Maybe not like $20, but it'll be less. We'll see, I guess. I think that
Yeah.
people were really disappointed by the first release of Diablo 3, and I think they'll be interested in getting those people back. That'll be their primary concern.
Yeah.
It really isn't like a huge like money, like a cash cow beyond people buying it. Really, there's not really any way for them to recoup
Yeah.
later like they can with Hearthstone and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, who
But
knows?
yeah, it'll
They'll
be
have
interesting.
like they're gonna add transmog is already in the game, right? In Diablo.
I haven't played it in so long. I'm not really familiar with a ton of the changes, but I think I have heard that from people that have played.
Yeah, it's same thing. I haven't like logged in for years now. Well, not years, but
But
months now.
since the release, really.
Yeah, I got to like Inferno mode, Act 2 and Act 1, and that's where I kind of stopped. So yeah, so there's gonna be a bunch of other new things like transmog and things like that. So that's cool. So anything else we want to discuss? Oh yeah, Diablo PvP. It's like
Oh man, I just don't like that they even tried to make that work. I think that it just doesn't make sense in a game like that. Like I don't know how you can make a game that you do so much damage so fast work with PvP, and that it's kind of like limited to that perspective and stuff. I don't know. It just seems kind of not interesting with only 4 abilities and whatnot.
I don't know. It might be an interesting thing just to have it around, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's a cool
Uh,
feature, but just the trouble it's caused throughout its release, I think, was not needed because they couldn't make it work before. Finally, trying to get it in with this, and I don't know, it added another issue with the game that people had problems with that I think was not needed. But it's cool that they'll have it now, I guess.
Yeah, I think the other game I play is Path of the Exiles, which is a free-to-play,
Right.
just free-to-play dungeon crawler like Diablo. And I think even they don't do PvP there. So even Torchlight probably doesn't do PvP, right?
No, I don't
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's move on to StarCraft 2 then. Features wise, nothing new. They're gonna add a calendar to the thing.
Yeah, they're not doing really anything with the last expansion at this BlizzCon, Legacy of the Void. They did tease like their new patch, which I think is going to introduce some good balance changes and a few like cool like BattleNet features, but nothing too crazy.
So, am I right? You are the only StarCraft 2 guy at the moment, right? Bill, you don't play StarCraft too much, right? Like,
No, I don't play it.
Yeah, I
yes.
guess so, but my enthusiasm should make up for it.
So,
I
take us
think
through
so.
this thing. So, anything good came out of BlizzCon for StarCraft 2, apart from
Yeah,
the tournament, of course.
well, yeah, like you say, I don't think that they're doing too much right now with it in terms of improving the game. They're really focusing on the next expansion, which they'll probably talk about next year since Heart of the Swarm just released this year. So they're
Oh,
kind of
right.
on
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I haven't really watched too much about what the update is. I guess it's just like the coolest thing for me is that they're bringing back the music from Brood War, which was so good and nostalgic for me. I can't wait to play around with that. That's probably the biggest takeaway. But for me, it definitely was the big feature or the big aspect for BlizzCon was the tournament, which I tuned into. Of course, this was the first year that they were doing this new WCS format where they were building up towards BlizzCon with these 16 different players.
Oh,
That
so this is the first time they did that? I thought this was
well, they
the.
did something sort of different last year. They had more regional tournaments around the world and kind of built up various players that way. And they ended it actually not at BlizzCon, but at a different tournament in China.
Yeah,
Uh,
last year did not have BlizzCon, right?
right, exactly. And they did have this other tournament event, but this is kind of like a new, different format that's more focused on building storylines of very specific players throughout the year, which I've been watching through mostly.
Okay.
And it was just cool to see the culmination, and it was a lot of fun. A really great event, I think.
So how's the how do you feel the balance of the game is right now? Are all the races kind of equally good, or are all Or are
Well,
Protoss the new champions?
no, no, no. I don't think that you can say that. There definitely will always be people in every race that complain about something. It's been like that since release, and I think that generally we're in a good place. There are obviously little things that are tweaked here and there. There was actually a recent patch that made the Oracle, a unit the Protoss uses to do early harassment, a lot faster, which a lot of Terrans are upset about right now. But yeah, like just little stuff that people are quibbling about in the game. But I think it generally balances out nicely with how people do in the tournament. But to speak more on this tournament specifically, it was just the big thing I think that most people are interested in is Jaedong, a player that has been popular for years and years in Korea. It was like a kind of like a rock star there in Brood War, so
Right,
popular and
right,
so
yeah.
successful, and people love him so much. And if you guys tuned into the stream at all, you'd probably hear like just so much cheering for that guy. And unfortunately, he did fall in the end to SOS, but SOS, another Korean player, of course, StarCraft known for its Korean dominance for so long, and there were in this tournament 15 Koreans and one foreigner. Foreigners
Wow.
people call non-Koreans because it's so Korean dominated, and he fell in the early rounds. But yeah, it was an awesome final. Awesome watching Jaedong, the fan favorite, go through, though he did lose. The games were all really great, and it was just such a nice atmosphere to end the year for StarCraft. Just really, really hyped for
Yeah,
fans.
I logged in to watch just the finale, just the final series between SOS and Jaedong. Wow, it was quite a beatdown, right? I mean, it was what,
Yeah, it was definitely one-sided.
5-1 or something, right? I mean,
4-1 was how it ended
4-1.
after best of seven, and yeah, Jaedong definitely had trouble. He kind of, I think, lost his nerve in the first game where he blew a kind of big advantage with some misplays, and yeah,
It was
that
it
really
was
hurt him.
funny. I mean, pretty much he started all the matches with Cannon Rush, right?
Right? Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
man, Zergs.
Zergs hate that cannon rush. I know. I play Zerg too, and it always
Oh,
feels
okay.
horrible to experience that one. So that definitely hurt him too. SOS, a master of the cannon rush, abusing it nicely in that. But the games did all turn out to be pretty well, despite those early advantages he got and the fact that it was kind of one-sided. I thought it was still really enjoyable and showed a lot of different cool stuff for StarCraft fans.
Excellent, excellent. That's it, right? I mean, anything else StarCraft 2 we want to talk about?
Not really. I mean, I think it's cool that this event was so popular and so many people watching. There's been a lot of people throughout the last couple of years of StarCraft saying that it's not going to last as a competitive game because of how popular League of Legends and Dota are by comparison. But just it was just so fun to see the excitement from me personally as a big fan of the game that they had for this event. I just got really into it and enjoyed it. And I don't think there's much more to say besides that.
Oh, great. Since I have you here, I wanted to talk about how it's doing in the esports scene. I'm just logged into, I mean, or just went to Twitch TV thing, and I'm looking at the top game right now, or the game with the most number of viewers right now. And League of Legends has like 100,000 viewers. StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm has like 30,000 viewers. So what's it doing? Is the League the new thing? Is in MLGs and things like that, is League the new big game?
Well, MLG specifically doesn't do League because League kind of has its own tournament
Oh,
run by Riot, so they kind of
oh,
do all their
okay.
stuff. But yeah, yeah, League and Dota 2 are definitely the biggest games right now. Back in 2011, it was definitely StarCraft that was the big one, but it has kind of taken third spot behind those. But it's still, I mean, like a lot of people like to say it's not going to
Hmm.
last, but I think it's still doing quite well. I think that the scene will survive for quite some time for fans of that kind of game. It is in fact just not doing as well as the other ones, just because those games have such huge player bases. I mean, League, I think right now
Yeah,
is the most popular online game there is
yeah,
on
yeah.
any platform. So yeah, that's just kind of how it works out. But
Plus League is such so much. I mean, I don't want to offend Dota players or something. I mean, there's definitely skill involved, but it's not. You don't nearly need as much skill to play Dota or League as StarCraft, right? So,
yeah, definitely. It is. It's a much harder game to get into for that reason. It's very unforgiving, and also because you have to primarily play 1v1 typically. That's the most popular format, and
yeah.
tends to be
Yeah.
not as fun as playing with other people. That's just kind of how it works. So yeah, I would say that. But I love them all. I love all the esports games, and I love watching how the scene develops. So yeah. I'm not really like I don't really like the doomsaying and the negativity that tends to come out of people saying that it's a dead game and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I'd rather watch a StarCraft 2 match, but I'd rather play League of Legends myself.
Right,
I can't really watch League of Legends because I half the time I'm not familiar with the champions. I don't know what spell they're doing, and the strategies all seem very odd. With StarCraft, it's like so easy to understand. Oh, here's a
right.
big pile of units. Here's a big pile of units. Go
Exactly.
at it.
And that's the cool thing about StarCraft. It has a huge base of people that don't play the game but only watch it, and that's really a revolutionary thing. Whereas League, it's kind of supported mainly by the fact that so many people play it. And I think it's just cool to see that a game can exist as a spectator game as opposed to a played game. And I
Yeah.
really like that.
Excellent. I think that's about it. Then let's wrap it up. But before I wrap it up, you both of you watched Korra, right?
Yes. Watched all 4 episodes on Friday.
I do not watch. I have never seen it.
Oh, really?
Have
Okay.
you seen
Yeah.
The Last Airbender?
Nope.
Oh man, gotta watch that, man. It's so good.
Okay, so just before we say our goodbyes, so how would you rate the season 2, or what would you like to rate the last 4 episodes?
It's kind of discombobulating to having watched so many at once and not really realizing I was addicted to it first. Like I came home on Friday night expecting to watch the 2, then I looked on Reddit and saw that they had posted the finale on Nick.com. So it was just so much. But all in all, I think I really enjoyed the way they did it. There were some issues, obviously, and it felt kind of weird at the end with the way things resolved themselves. But that's pretty much the MO of Avatar at this point. And I think there was a lot of really fun stuff along the way, and I think they redeemed a lot of the characters after some issues with the season overall, for sure. So I would say 4 out of 5 lemon cakes for me.
Okay. Yeah, it's odd though. I mean, I wanted this. My complaint with Korra season 1 was the only complaint I had was the scale was not as epic as Last Airbender or something. It was just one villain, one city, nothing. It kind of felt very small. And this season did that, but quality just seemed poor.
Right, and it kind of was all over the place, and the various storylines
Yeah,
didn't
no,
mesh as
not
well.
just the animation, the writing, the dialogues, it just all seemed very poor.
Yeah, definitely, the Korra Vok podcast has had a lot of negative things to say about the animation by Studio Mirror. I want to say I don't want to confuse them, but I think that was the one or Pereira actually I think is the bad one.
Okay.
If I messed it up, I'm sorry. Yeah, but yeah, I think that is the issue that a lot of people had, and the writing and kind of just the way the storyline shaked out. I think they wrapped it up in the best way they could have, despite those issues. So that's what I would say. And I look forward to more Korra. Obviously, I'm still a huge fan despite the problems it had.
I'm actually prepared to move on to the next generation of avatars now. Let's bring out somebody else. I'm done.
It'll be interesting to see what they do with that in the future, for sure, especially with some of the things that happened in the finale.
Excellent. Okay, that's about it then. So let's wrap it up.
All right, sounds right.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. Thank you, Zach. Thank you for joining us. Do you guys want to plug anything? Your Tumblrs, your Twitters, or anything?
No, nothing worth mentioning, I don't think. But I just want to say thank you so much for organizing the BlizzCon cast. I'm so happy that VOK is getting more gaming podcasts up there now. I love gaming so much, as you guys probably can tell, and it was a lot of fun for me. So thank you so much.
Oh yeah. It's such an odd thing, right? I mean, I haven't played World of Warcraft in a couple of years. Just haven't played any of these games in a month. But still, when BlizzCon comes around, I can't help but keep track of things.
Yeah, it's like my Christmas, that in E3. I just love sitting down and watching all the stuff that's happening in gaming. I love it.
Okay then, thank you. Okay, have a good one, guys. Bye.
Yep, see you.
Thanks. Bye.
Ugh, inn is closed. Try back again later.